The rain had just stopped when we hailed the taxi. My girlfriend, Lena, squeezed my hand as we climbed into the back seat. The city lights reflected off the wet asphalt, blurring into long streaks like a watercolor painting. The driver greeted us with a heavy accent I couldn't place. His English was clear, but the intonation hinted he was from somewhere far away. "I take you anywhere you need," he said, smiling faintly. His eyes, dark and unreadable, lingered on us for just a moment too long. We told him the address, and the car pulled smoothly into traffic. At first, everything seemed normal, the usual hum of the engine, the occasional honk of impatient drivers, Lena leaning against me, her hair damp from the rain. But soon, the route he took was unfamiliar. Streets we didn't recognize appeared on the GPS. Or sometimes the GPS even seemed to glitch entirely, freezing in place while the cab twisted through alleys I didn't know existed. "Are you sure this is the fastest route?" I asked. The driver didn't answer immediately. Instead, he muttered something under his breath in a language I couldn't understand, and then continued driving. "Faster now." Lena looked at me nervously. "Maybe he knows a shortcut," she said, trying to sound casual. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. It was hard to tell as the city around us began to blur into shadows and neon lights. The cab moved deeper into an unfamiliar part of town. Streets narrowing, buildings older, windows dark. There was no other car around. My unease grew. Then the driver spoke. His voice calm but strange. "You are not going where you thought you were going." I turned to him, eyes wide. "What do you mean?" He smiled faintly, as if enjoying some private joke. "You will see soon enough." Lena grabbed my arm. "Maybe we should get out," she whispered. I nodded, but the cab accelerated instead of slowing down. The engine growled as though it were alive, and I realized we were no longer in the city I knew. The streets narrowed even further, buildings leaning over the road like shadows of forgotten ghosts. The air smelled different, damp, metallic, and faintly of smoke. Lena's grip tightened on my hand. "I don't like this," she said. "I know," I whispered, trying to calm her, and myself. "Just, stay calm. Let's see where this goes." The driver didn't respond. He seemed almost detached, as if he was following some internal map only he could see. I noticed the rearview mirror caught his eyes every so often, scanning us, calculating. Then, without warning, he made a sudden turn onto a narrow cobblestone street. The tires rattled over the uneven stones, sending a jolt through the car. Lena gasped. "Where are we?" "I don't know," I admitted. My heart pounded. We drove further, deeper into the unknown, until the street ended in front of an old, abandoned warehouse. Its windows were shattered, the door hanging loosely on rusted hinges. The driver stopped, cut the engine, and finally looked at us with a small, almost sinister smile. "This is your stop," he said. I swallowed hard. "Stop, this isn't the address we gave you." He shrugged. "Sometimes the journey is more important than the destination." Lena's hand trembled in mine. "We need to get out," she said, urgency rising in her voice. Before I could answer, the driver reached into a compartment and pulled out something small, dark, and metallic. I couldn't see clearly, but the glint in his eyes told me it wasn't a friendly gesture. The small metallic object in his hand caught the dim light from the dashboard. I squinted, trying to make out what it was. Lena's breath hitched beside me. "What is that?" she whispered. "Maybe we are," I admitted. "But at least we're together." The driver led the way, his footsteps silent, almost gliding over the worn stone. The walls were damp, covered with moss and streaks of something darker. A faint smell of smoke and iron filled the air. I swallowed hard, trying to calm my nerves. At the bottom of the stairs, the corridor opened into a vast underground chamber. Faintly glowing lanterns hung from the ceiling, casting flickering shadows that danced across the walls. The air was thick and heavy, and I could feel my pulse quicken. In the center of the chamber was an old map, laid out on a stone pedestal. It looked ancient, with hand-drawn lines and symbols I didn't recognize. The driver gestured toward it. "This map shows the path you must follow," he said. "But beware, many try and fail. Only those who trust each other fully will succeed." Lena leaned close to me. "This is insane. Who even is he?" I had no answer. I didn't know if we should run or keep going. But something deep inside told me we were meant to follow. The driver handed me the pendant from the box. "Wear this," he instructed. "It will guide you." I placed it around my neck, feeling an odd warmth against my skin. Suddenly, the map glowed faintly, revealing a path highlighted by a shimmering line that seemed almost alive. "This is it," the driver said. "Follow it carefully. Every choice matters." I looked at Lena. Her eyes mirrored my mix of fear and curiosity. "We can do this," I said. We stepped forward, following the glowing path. The chamber seemed endless, corridors twisting and turning in ways that defied logic. Shadows moved just beyond our vision, whispering faintly, testing our resolve. Every step was a challenge, not just physical, but mental. Hours, or maybe minutes, passed. Time felt distorted. At one point, Lena stumbled, and I caught her just in time. "Careful," I said, holding her close. She smiled weakly. "I trust you." The driver's voice echoed behind us. "Keep trusting each other. That is the key." Suddenly, the path split into two. Both corridors glowed faintly, but in opposite directions. The pendant pulsed, as if reacting to one choice. I held it up, watching the light flicker. "This way," I said, motioning to the corridor where the pendant glowed strongest. Lena nodded, and we moved together. The air grew warmer, the whispers fading, replaced by a distant hum, like a heartbeat, or perhaps something larger. Finally, the corridor opened into another chamber. This one was brighter, filled with artifacts, ancient books, and strange machines that seemed both magical and mechanical. At the far end stood a large door, inscribed with symbols that glowed softly. The driver stopped. "This is where your true journey begins," he said. "Beyond this door, nothing is certain. Only your courage and trust in each other will see you through." I looked at Lena. She nodded, gripping my hand. "Let's go," she said. Together, we stepped toward the door. The driver's smile never faltered. "A key," he said. "A key to where you're meant to be." I frowned, unsure whether to laugh nervously or panic. "Meant to be? We didn't ask to go anywhere mysterious." He tilted his head. "Sometimes, people don't know what they're looking for, until they find it." Lena pulled at my sleeve. "We should leave, now." I opened the door, but before I could step out, the driver's hand shot up, blocking me. "Not yet," he said, calmly but firmly. "Trust me, you will want to see this." Against my better judgment, I sat back down. Lena sighed, leaning against me. The silence in the cab was heavy, filled only with the occasional drip of water from the broken warehouse roof outside. Finally, the driver got out, walking toward the warehouse. He gestured for us to follow. Reluctantly, we did. Each step on the wet cobblestones echoed, and I felt an inexplicable chill. Lena clung to my arm, whispering, "I don't like this." Inside, the warehouse was dark, except for a faint glow coming from the far corner. Broken crates and discarded machinery littered the space. As we approached the light, I saw a small table with an old, ornate box on it. The driver gestured toward it. "Open it," he said. I hesitated. My instincts screamed at me to run, but curiosity, an irresistible, dangerous curiosity, took over. I lifted the lid. Inside, there were two objects, a small, intricately carved pendant and a folded piece of paper. The paper had a message written in English.